We've got the etymology and morphology here, so really starting to dig down into the parts. So hydra, meaning water, and then some worked examples of other words. Now, this is for you as teachers. What Lauren's going to show you in a minute is how children take this structure and how we've built a structure which is explicit and unmissable. And that makes it unforgettable and transferable. So this is what we give in our learning modules, and they'll be out from spring term onwards. And this is something which I'm extremely excited about. Lauren and I have both used these with children, taught with them, and the impact has been phenomenal. So Lauren's going to talk through the examples of how we do this.
Thanks, Alex. I think one of the really key things about the vocabulary aspect of the curriculum modules is that what they allow us to do is to develop a sense of consistency in the way that we define words, so that as pupils meet the same words time and time again, they're not receiving multiple different explanations of those words, but that they're really drilling into their meaning and understanding. This is an example of the Year 4 Rivers vocabulary aspect of the curriculum module. And what's really important to note is that this isn't something that has been completed within a lesson. This is something that was completed over the course of the delivery of that curriculum module. So on the left-hand side, you'll see Tier 2 vocabulary, and on the right-hand side, the Tier 3 vocabulary. And you'll also see that the icons for knowing, linking, analysing and using are evident on both Pupil Organiser. So this is the people equivalent of the teacher vocabulary organiser, which allows them to explore key language that they'll meet throughout the curriculum module. That language has been selected really carefully based on the teacher explanations of key concepts that will need to be given in the curriculum module. And in terms of the Tier 3 language that's being collected, there's a very clear steer there that it should advance pupils' own oral and written language capacity. So while each of these are cumulatively taught, you'll also see that there is a word study and analysis section of this, which explores the prefixes, suffixes and roots that are relevant to this vocabulary module. And underneath that, idiomatic language. So in this example, really helpful for pupils to understand the idiom. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, as well as an opportunity for them to note down other language that they meet within that curriculum area of study that they'd like to find out about going forwards. And what this does is where the Tier 2 and Tier 3 words teach pupils words they'll need to use, this section of the vocabulary modules lays the foundations for future language acquisition, because it gives them a directory that they can use in future learning. Now, on the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see that there are certain words that will warrant a depth analysis. So in this case, we've explored the word rivulet because we know that we really want to use that in an example of pupils writing subsequently. And so for that individual whole word, we've unpicked the analysis, the definition, the connections, and the correct use in context. And it means that that pupil now can take that word forward and use it effectively and precisely when it's needed. But teaching word meaning is only any good if it transfers into pupils' own use of language. So if we get this right, what does it look like? Well, if we teach vocabulary really well, and you can see some examples of how one of Alex's excellent knowledge strips has been used here in a lesson to structure a pupil's thinking. As we track through that piece of work, we can see words like source and riverbed and meander and floodplain, all of which have been taught explicitly through the accompanying vocabulary